Welcome to the Gallery Teachers Masterclass. My name is Ben, and today we are going to talk about how to pronounce the schwa in adjectives and function words. Schwa is the most common sound in spoken English, but it often appears in spellings and contexts that you wouldn't expect. So join us for this session and find out how to pronounce schwa in adjectives and function words. First, if you're new to the masterclass, if you're new to learning English pronunciation, well, we need to think what schwa is. You might be able to see it behind me, and here it is in the diagram. Schwa is this sound in the middle. Maybe you've seen a different pronunciation or phonetic diagram in your English learning. I like this one because it puts schwa at the center. It's the most important sound in English. That's because it's the sound of the unstressed syllable. So that means that in English, anytime a syllable doesn't have a lot of stress, a lot of emphasis, there's a chance that you're going to be hearing the schwa sound. It often sounds a bit like Don't repeat it. Now, here I've taken this chart from a guy called Doug Blumeyer, and he did an analysis based on some corpora, some online databases of spoken English. And he found that by far the most common sound in English is schwa. It's about just under 12% of all the sounds in English, and it's far more common than any of the other sounds. In writing, here are some common contexts, some common spellings where you might expect to find a schwa. Have a look at that there. Now, there's a question mark here. I've put a question mark here because maybe some of these are not a schwa. For me, certainly, some of them are not. So I think comma, atlas, salad, alphabet, amount, thousand. All of these, yeah, it's an sound. Elephant, carpet. No, it's not carpet, it's carpet. For me, this is a different sound. Taken, telephone, item. So sometimes schwa is different. Here are some common spellings, and this can help you. But I said before, don't repeat the sound. And that's because depending on the context, depending on the letters and sounds around it, schwa can sound like lots of different things. Right? This is a very scientific diagram for a masterclass, I know, but it shows us that schwa has lots of different pronunciations, and it can sound like lots of different things. We need to think about today how you pronounce schwa in adjectives and then in function words. Let's look at some basic rules for adjectives. I think the most helpful way to think about schwa is to think about what suffixes have a schwa. Let's have a look at some common ones. So first, the full. Now, if you say the suffix on its own, or maybe you try to make it sound like another word, it sounds like full, doesn't it? Full. But as a suffix, it's an unstressed syllable. And we're going to say helpful, meaningful, thoughtful, helpful, meaningful, thoughtful. Again, this looks like a word, doesn't it? But we don't want to say less. Again, this is an unstressed syllable. And we're going to say helpless, meaningless, thoughtless. Try that again. Helpless, meaningless, thoughtless. This one, wooden, golden, molten. This is a very common suffix for making an adjective. And again, it looks like a word that we know, but we're going to say able, washable, reusable, flammable. And this is weird because it's spelt in a different way, but the sound is just the same. Accessible, omissible, permissible, washable, accessible, reusable, omissible, flammable, permissible. Exactly the same. What about this one? We've got not wards, woods, woods, homewards, forwards, inwards. And the last one, the easiest one perhaps, ER. This is more or less a rule for any word in English that ends in ER. It's going to be a schwa sound. And be careful that you don't try to give every letter in English a sound. So we don't say bigger, bigger, smaller, faster. And actually with this one, we can have a bonus. Remember that in comparatives, so you're going to have an adjective, then ER, and then than. And actually, both of these things in purple contain a schwa. So, bigger than, smaller than, faster than. A cat is faster than a tortoise. My cat is smaller than yours. Your cat is bigger than mine. So remember, in the adjectives, you want to focus on suffixes. Think about what suffixes often contain a schwa. And these are more or less gold standard rules when you'll find the schwa. But what about schwa in function words? Let's look at this sentence. Now, I can say this sentence in a very robotic and boring way. I'll stress every syllable. There are lots of things you should know about schwa. There are lots of things you should know about schwa. But of course, in real English, in natural English, we don't speak like that. And that's because there's a mix of content and function words. So actually, in natural speech, this sentence probably sounds like, there are lots of things you should know about schwa. There are lots of things you should know about schwa. Let's have a look. Highlighted in purple here are the function words. There are of yesha, about. There are of yesha, about. And there's lots of schwas going on here. These are function words, the content word, the important word, lots and things we stress. There are lots of things. There are lots of things. There are lots of things. Of very often becomes or of. There are lots of things. What about this pronoun? Is a pronoun really a function word? Well, normally, because of the context, it is. So lots of things, you, sh. Now, this modal auxiliary verb, often we think these are important, they carry meaning, but again, from the context, it's usually not that important. So there are lots of things you should know about. That's a different vowel here, but this and schwa. If you've seen one of my masterclasses before, you might have seen this analogy. Function words and content words in a sentence. The black words are content words. These are the important words that carry meaning in a sentence. So we've got schwa, proper noun, know, the verb, things, noun, and lots, some sort of quantifier. And in the analogy of the wall, these are the bricks. When you look at a wall, you think, it's a wall, because you can see the bricks. But we need lots of other little bits in the wall to make it stand together. You want a wall that you can relax on, you can lean against, and it won't fall over. The cement, the white bits in the middle, or here, the purple words, the function words, the grammatical ones. Because these words are grammatical, we often don't need to pronounce them. As a general rule, when you are speaking, emphasize your nouns and your verbs and your adjectives and your adverbs. When you're listening, be aware that the speaker isn't going to give much attention or much emphasis to function words. And these are the parts of the sentence that you will probably not hear because the sounds sort of go together.